Kennedy half-dollar alert, hidden value. Official notice police car light. Stop scrolling. Listen to me. Be careful. How much is your old Kennedy half-dollar really worth? Most people don't know, and that's exactly why they lose it. This coin could change your life. Don't ignore this. Some rare Kennedy half-dollars with the right year, silver content, or era have sold for over $150,000. Think about that. $150,000 for a single coin. And here's what nobody tells you. The less people know, the easier it is for collectors to pull valuable coins out of circulation every single day. So before you spend anything, check your pocket, check your wallet, check your change jar. Because the coin you ignore today could be worth thousands tomorrow. And this is just the beginning. From here, it only gets rarer, more intense, and more valuable. Stay with me until the end. This is Numismatic Vault Extra, USA, United States. And these coins change everything. The story of the 1972 D. Kennedy half-dollar begins with a powerful symbol, a coin that carries not just monetary value, but the memory of a nation. When was honored on the half-dollar after his tragic death, the coin became more than currency. It became a tribute, a piece of history carried in the hands of millions. By 1972, the design had already become iconic, instantly recognizable, and deeply emotional for many Americans. The 1972 D half-dollar was minted in Denver, and the small d beneath the date marks its origin. Unlike earlier Kennedy half-dollars from the 1960s, which contained significant silver, the 1972 version is made mostly of copper and nickel. This is one of the most important facts to understand, because it directly affects the coin's value. While it may look like silver, it does not carry the same intrinsic metal worth as earlier issues. In 1972, the United States was going through a time of change, socially, politically, and economically. Yet coins like this continued to move through everyday life, used in transactions, stored in cash registers, and often overlooked. The half-dollar itself was already becoming less common in circulation, slowly fading from daily use. Millions upon millions of 1972 D. Kennedy half-dollars were produced, over 140 million in total. This high mintage means that the coin is not rare in general. In circulated condition, most examples today are worth only their face value or slightly more, usually around 50 cents to $1. For many people, this can be surprising, especially when they expect hidden treasure. But the story does not end there. Condition is everything in the world of coins. A 1972 D half-dollar that has been preserved carefully, with minimal wear and strong detail, begins to stand out. The shine of the surface, known as luster, becomes an important factor in determining its appeal. When a coin reaches uncirculated condition, meaning it has never been used in daily transactions, it becomes far more desirable. Bright surfaces, clean edges, and sharp design details can raise the value into the range of $5 to $20 or more, depending on quality. Now we move into the level where your vision of high value begins to take shape. At the very top of the grading scale, coins that are nearly perfect, free from marks, with exceptional luster and detail, can command significantly higher prices. These are known as high mint state coins, often graded MS66, MS67, or higher. In rare cases, a 1972 D. Kennedy half-dollar graded at the highest levels can sell for hundreds or even over $1,000. These coins are extremely difficult to find because even small imperfections can lower the grade. Perfection is rare, and rarity drives value. However, it is important to be clear and honest. The idea of this coin being worth $150,000 or making someone a millionaire overnight is not realistic. There are no known regular 1972 D half-dollars that reach that level. The coin's composition and high mintage limit its maximum value. What makes this coin interesting is not its rarity alone, but its potential within condition. Most examples are ordinary, but a small number, those that survived untouched, can be surprisingly valuable. This creates the excitement of searching, the idea that something special might still be out there. Collectors look closely at every detail. The sharpness of Kennedy's hair, the clarity of the eagle on the reverse, and the absence of scratches or marks all play a role. Even the smallest flaw can make a big difference in value. There is also the possibility of errors, though they are not common. A double die, off-center strike, or other minting mistake can increase the coin's value significantly. These rare errors are where ordinary coins can become extraordinary. If you have a 1972 D. Kennedy half dollar, the first step is careful examination. Look at the surface. Does it shine? Are the details sharp? Does it appear untouched? These clues will help you understand its potential value. One rule must always be remembered: never clean the coin. Cleaning can destroy the original surface and reduce the value dramatically. In the world of coin collecting, originality is more important than appearance. The beauty of the Kennedy half dollar lies in its meaning. It represents a moment in history, a tribute to a leader, and a connection between past and present. Even if its value is modest, its significance remains strong. For most people, this coin will remain a simple collectible, interesting, historical, and worth a small amount. But for those who find a truly exceptional example, it can become something more, a coin that stands out among millions. There is something powerful about the idea that value can hide in plain sight. A coin that looks ordinary may carry a story, a history, and sometimes a surprising worth. That possibility keeps collectors searching and dreaming. In the end, the 1972 D. Kennedy half dollar is not a coin of millions, but it is a coin of meaning and potential. It teaches that not every treasure is obvious, and that sometimes value comes from rarity within the ordinary. And somewhere, perhaps in an old collection or forgotten box, there may be one nearly perfect 1972 D. half dollar, bright, flawless, and rare, waiting for the moment when its true value is recognized, turning a simple 50-cent piece into a prize worth far more than expected, and proving that even in a world of millions, rarity can still exist. Next up, the 1993 D. Kennedy half dollar begins its story as a quiet piece of modern American coinage, yet beneath its calm appearance lies a deeper narrative of history, symbolism, and misunderstood value. Bearing the portrait of, the coin carries forward a legacy that began decades earlier, transforming a simple 50-cent piece into something that feels far more meaningful than its face value suggests. By 1993, the Kennedy half dollar had already become a familiar sight, though not necessarily a common one in everyday transactions. Unlike earlier decades, when half dollars circulated widely, by the 1990s, they were rarely seen in daily use. Many were produced mainly for collectors or stored away in rolls, which adds an interesting layer to their story. Millions exist, yet many have remained untouched. The D. Mint mark tells us this coin was struck in Denver, one of the United States Mint's most productive facilities. In that year, tens of millions of these coins were produced, making them far from rare in terms of quantity. This fact is essential to understand because it shapes the realistic market value of the coin. One of the biggest misconceptions surrounding the 1993 D. Kennedy half dollar is the idea that it is made of silver. In reality, standard circulation coins from this year are composed of copper and nickel, not precious metal. Only special collector issues, proof coins from San Francisco, contain silver, and those are different from the regular Denver minted coins. At first glance, the coin may seem like it holds hidden fortune, especially when people hear stories of rare coins selling for huge amounts. But most 1993 D. half dollars, especially those that have been used in circulation, are worth only their face value or slightly above it. This can be surprising for those expecting a dramatic discovery. However, the story changes when we begin to look closely at condition. Coins that have never been circulated, those preserved in mint state, can show a beautiful shine known as luster. This natural brilliance reflects light in a way that immediately separates them from worn examples. In uncirculated condition, the value of a 1993 D. Kennedy half dollar can rise to a few dollars, often in the range of $2 to $10 depending on quality. While this is still modest, it represents the beginning of collector interest, where preservation becomes the key factor. As we move higher in quality, the coin enters a more exciting category. Coins graded at MS65 or MS66, with fewer marks and stronger visual appeal, can reach values of $20, $30, or even more. These coins are much harder to find because even small imperfections can lower their grade. At the very top of the scale, we find the finest known examples, coins graded at MS67 or higher. These are nearly perfect pieces, with exceptional surfaces, sharp details, and outstanding luster. They are rare not because of low mintage, but because so few coins survive in such flawless condition. In rare cases, these top-grade coins can sell for hundreds or even over $1,000. This is where the coin begins to feel special, where it stands apart from the millions of ordinary examples. It becomes a collector's prize, something worth searching for and preserving. But it is important to bring clarity to the dream of extreme wealth. The idea that a 1993 D. Kennedy half-dollar could be worth $150,000 or make someone a millionaire overnight is not realistic. There are no known regular examples that reach anywhere near that level. The coin's composition and high mintage limit its maximum value. What makes this coin truly interesting is the contrast between perception and reality. It looks important, it feels significant, and it carries history, but its value depends entirely on condition and rarity within its category. Collectors pay attention to the smallest details. The smoothness of Kennedy's portrait, the clarity of the lettering, and the sharpness of the eagle on the reverse all matter. Even a tiny scratch or mark can affect the coin's grade and value. There is also the possibility of mint errors, though they are uncommon. Errors such as double dies or off-center strikes can dramatically increase value, turning an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. These are the coins that collectors dream about finding. If you have a 1993 D. Kennedy half-dollar, take a careful look at it. Hold it under light and examine its surface. Does it shine brightly? Are the details sharp and untouched? These are the signs of a coin that may hold more value than average. One rule should always be followed. Never clean the coin. Cleaning removes the original surface and can instantly reduce its value. What might seem like improvement actually destroys the qualities collectors seek. The beauty of this coin lies not in guaranteed riches, but in possibility. It represents the idea that even among millions of common coins, a few rare and exceptional pieces can exist, waiting to be discovered. There's also a deeper emotional value. The coin connects the present to the past, carrying the image of a leader whose legacy still resonates. That connection gives the coin meaning beyond money. For most people, the 1993 D. Kennedy half-dollar will remain a modest collectible, interesting, historical, and worth a small amount. But for those who find a near-perfect example, it can become something more, a coin that stands out and tells a different story. In the end, this coin is not a path to millions, but it is a reminder of how value works in the world of collecting. It shows that rarity is not always about age or metal, but about condition, preservation, and sometimes luck. And somewhere, perhaps hidden in a roll of coins or tucked away in an old collection, there may be one exceptional 1993 D. half-dollar, brilliant, flawless, and rare, waiting to reveal its true worth, proving that even an ordinary coin can hold a surprising and meaningful treasure within. Next up, the 1964 Kennedy half-dollar stands at the crossroads of history, emotion, and precious metal, making it one of the most iconic coins ever produced in the United States. When you hold this coin, you are not simply holding money. You are holding a tribute to a leader whose legacy was suddenly cut short, leaving a nation in shock and remembrance. This coin was born from that moment, and its significance still echoes today. In 1964, the United States Mint moved with unusual speed to create this coin, replacing the Franklin half-dollar design with Kennedy's portrait. The response from the public was overwhelming. People did not just spend these coins, they saved them. They kept them as souvenirs, as symbols of respect, and as pieces of history they wanted to preserve forever. One of the most important features of the 1964 Kennedy half-dollar is its composition. Unlike later versions, this coin is made of 90% silver. That alone gives it intrinsic value, meaning even in its simplest form, it is worth more than its face value due to the metal content. This sets it apart from many other half-dollars produced in later years. The version without a mint mark was struck in Philadelphia, which produced hundreds of millions of these coins. This high mintage means that the coin is not rare in general, but its value comes from a combination of silver content, condition, and collector demand. In circulated condition, a typical 1964 Kennedy half dollar is usually worth the value of its silver, often ranging between $8 and $15, depending on market conditions. This alone makes it more valuable than most modern coins, and it is one of the reasons collectors and investors continue to seek it out. But the real excitement begins when we look at higher quality examples. Coins that have never been circulated, known as uncirculated coins, can display a stunning brilliance. Their surfaces shine with original luster, and their details remain sharp and untouched. In mint state condition, the value can rise significantly. A well-preserved 1964 Kennedy half dollar may sell for $20, $30, or even more depending on its grade. These coins are far more desirable because they represent the coin as it appeared the moment it left the mint. As we move to even higher grades, the numbers become more impressive. Coins graded MS-65 or MS-66, with strong eye appeal and minimal marks, can reach values of $50, $100, or higher. These coins are not easy to find, as most were handled or stored without special care. At the very top of the scale are the finest known examples, coins graded MS-67 or above. These coins are exceptionally rare, with nearly perfect surfaces, brilliant luster, and outstanding detail. They represent the best of the best, the coins that collectors compete for. In rare cases, these top-grade coins can sell for thousands of dollars. Special varieties, such as the 1964 accented hair proof version, can also command strong prices, adding another layer of interest to this already fascinating coin. Now we come to the dream of extraordinary value, the idea of $150,000 or more. While it is true that some extremely rare coins can reach such levels, a regular 1964 Kennedy half dollar, without unique errors or extraordinary provenance, does not typically reach that price. It is valuable, yes, but not in the millionaire-making range. However, the possibility of rare errors cannot be ignored. A coin with a dramatic minting error, such as a double die, off-metal strike, or other unusual feature, could become extremely valuable. These are the coins that sometimes shock the market and create headlines. Collectors examine every detail of this coin with great care. The texture of Kennedy's hair, the sharpness of the lettering, and the clarity of the eagle on the reverse all play a role in determining value. Even small imperfections can make a big difference. If you have a 1964 Kennedy half dollar, the first thing to do is observe it closely. Look at its shine, its detail, and its overall condition. Does it appear worn, or does it look almost new? This simple observation can tell you a lot about its potential worth. One of the most important rules in coin collecting is to never clean your coin. Cleaning may make it look shiny, but it destroys the original surface and reduces its value significantly. Collectors always prefer coins in their natural state. The beauty of the 1964 Kennedy half dollar lies not only in its silver content, but in its story. It represents a moment when a nation came together to honor a leader, and that emotional connection still adds to its appeal today. For many collectors, this coin is a starting point, a gateway into the world of numismatics. It is accessible, historical, and valuable enough to be exciting, yet common enough to be found with some effort. There is also a sense of mystery and possibility surrounding this coin. While most examples are worth a modest amount, the chance of finding a high-grade or rare variety keeps collectors searching and hoping. In the end, the 1964 Kennedy half dollar is not just about money. It is about history, memory, and the enduring appeal of a well-crafted coin. It reminds us that value can come from many sources, not just rarity or metal. And somewhere, perhaps hidden in an old collection or passed down through generations, there may be an extraordinary example, brilliant, flawless, and rare, waiting to reveal its true worth, turning a simple piece of silver into a treasure that captures both the imagination and the spirit of a moment in time. The story of the 1985 D. Kennedy half dollar begins not with wealth, but with memory, symbolism, and a quiet presence in American coinage that many people overlook. This coin carries the portrait of a figure whose legacy transformed a simple piece of currency into a lasting tribute. By 1985, this design had already become deeply familiar, yet it still carried emotional weight, connecting each coin to a moment in history that shaped a nation. The D mint mark on the coin tells you it was produced in Denver, one of the major mints of the United States. In that year, millions of these coins were struck, not as rare collectibles, but as part of everyday coinage. However, by the 1980s, half dollars were no longer widely used in daily transactions, which created an interesting situation. Many coins were saved, stored, or simply forgotten. Unlike earlier Kennedy half dollars from the 1960s, the 1985 D version contains no silver. It is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, meaning its value does not come from precious metal. This is one of the most important realities to understand, because it separates this coin from the dream of instant fortune based on metal content alone. At first glance, the 1985 D Kennedy half dollar may seem ordinary. In circulated condition, most examples are worth exactly their face value, 50 cents. Even today, many of these coins can still be found in rolls, collections, or old savings jars, often overlooked and underestimated. But the real story begins when we look beyond the surface. Condition transforms everything. A coin that has never been used, one that still carries its original mint luster, becomes something entirely different. These uncirculated coins reflect light beautifully, with smooth surfaces and sharp details that reveal the artistry of their design. In uncirculated condition, the value begins to rise. A typical mint state 1985 D half dollar may be worth a few dollars, perhaps $3 to $10, depending on its quality. This may not sound dramatic, but it represents the first step into the collector's world, where preservation creates value. As we move into higher grades, the numbers begin to change more noticeably. Coins graded at MS65 or MS66, with fewer marks and stronger eye appeal, can reach $20, $30, or even higher. These coins are much harder to find because even small imperfections can lower their grade. Now we enter the level where excitement builds. The finest known examples of the 1985 D Kennedy half dollar, coins graded at MS67 or higher, are rare. These coins are nearly perfect, with exceptional luster, sharp details, and almost no visible flaws. They represent the highest level of preservation. In rare cases, such top-grade coins can sell for hundreds or even over $1,000. These are the coins that collectors compete for, the ones that stand out among millions. They are not common, and that rarity is what gives them their value. However, it is important to speak honestly. The idea of this coin being worth $150,000 or turning someone into a millionaire overnight is not realistic. There are no known regular 1985 D Kennedy half dollars that reach that level. The high mintage and lack of silver content limit its maximum value. What makes this coin fascinating is not extreme rarity, but hidden potential. It teaches an important lesson. Value is not always about age or metal. It is about condition, preservation, and sometimes luck. Among millions of ordinary coins, a few extraordinary ones exist. Collectors examine every detail closely. The smoothness of Kennedy's cheek, the sharpness of the lettering, and the clarity of the eagle on the reverse all play a role. Even a tiny scratch can make a difference between an average coin and a valuable one. There is also the possibility of mint errors. While not common, errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, or unusual planchets can increase value dramatically. These rare mistakes are what turn ordinary coins into collector treasures. If you ever find a 1985 D Kennedy half dollar, take a moment to truly look at it. Tilt it under light, examine its surface, and notice its details. Does it shine like new? Are the edges crisp and clean? These are the signs of a coin with potential. And always remember the most important rule in coin collecting. Never clean the coin. Cleaning removes the original surface and can reduce the value instantly. What may seem like improvement actually destroys the very quality collectors are looking for. The beauty of this coin lies in its quiet presence. It is not a rare coin in general, but it carries the possibility of rarity within it. That possibility is what makes coin collecting exciting. The idea that something valuable could be hiding in plain sight. There is also a deeper meaning behind the coin. It represents a tribute, a memory, and a connection to history. Even if its value is modest, its significance remains powerful, reminding us of the legacy it honors. For most people, the 1985 D half dollar will remain a simple collectible, worth a small amount but rich in history. But for a few, those who discover a nearly perfect example, it can become something more, a coin that stands out, that tells a different story. In the end, the 1985 D Kennedy half dollar is not a coin of millions, but it is a coin of possibility. It shows that even in a world of mass production, rarity can still exist in the finest details, and somewhere, perhaps stored away in an old collection or hidden in a forgotten drawer, there may be one extraordinary example, flawless, brilliant, and untouched, waiting to reveal its true value, proving that even an ordinary coin can hold a surprising and meaningful treasure within. Next up,